welcome back to From Soft Serve. I got more Anor Londo updates, as luck would have it. That's where I ended the last video, I think. But some really cool stuff, where basically the lighting now in this room is more accurate. It's kind of like a happy mistake from the map piece changes that we were making. And I'll get to Guinevere's room in a second. I have ideas for that. But as you'll notice here, previously in the mod, after I had fixed these windows, because before they were completely opaque and no light would come through, so I did fix that with the help of Magpie, a YouTube commenter. Amazing person. So helpful. But the light that was coming through was basically the entire floor almost. It was very inaccurate because of the way that I basically copied the windows from down below. But now that I believe it was actually basically correcting the back faces on this map piece. It's actually a map piece I got from a Discord user that was kind of tinkering around with some of the map files, and I was inquiring about a certain tool. And yeah, so now you'll see the light is completely accurate to the windows themselves, and it's fantastic. It's complete. It was a happy accident. I didn't expect it. I was like, oh shit, okay. Hell yeah, dog. Oh, I love how you can see the sun right through there. Oh, yeah, Anor Londo's getting some big updates, which for me, I'm just really happy with, because Anor Londo's obviously one of the most iconic locations ever in gaming, I think. And so, of course, you see these windows are still correct. They have some light hitting from the windows up above, but there's a really cool thing that happened on the bottom floor as well. Whoop! You'll now see the shadows that are hitting from these windows are now also accurate. So before, and I hadn't actually realized this, before the windows were actually just letting light through without any of these like little shadow lines, right? Because of course, as you can see in the window, it's not just one giant window. There are actually lines, structure in between each little pane of the window. And so now the shadow is completely accurate. And once again, I think that's down to the back face changing using the tool. And so now the light bleeding through, yeah, it's actually accurate. And you'll see even at the top here, this little pattern that's at the top of the window is now actually shining through as well. So it's so cool. It's another happy accident that I hadn't thought of, that, yeah, the back face, how it was handling the light, just wouldn't let through the natural pattern. And so now that it does, and you'll see this window. I still have some shadow issues, like at a distance, you'll see how it's weirdly like better at a distance, and then the closer you get, it gets kind of weird. I don't know, I gotta tinker around with the shadow settings there. But I do have an idea for, well, actually, this looks a little different. Yeah, oh, that's interesting. I gotta look into that. I can see that there's a floor difference. Oh, I think I know what that might be. Or is that just how the floor is? Oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah, this material is different than this material. Yeah, okay, well I prefer this one. I prefer this floor. Interesting. I wonder if that's just how it is. Yeah, you start to notice more things. I've played the game so much, but really looking at it for modding and going through all the different map pieces. But so let's go up here. I had an idea for Guinevere's room. So the other thing that Discord user did is, it was Papaya something something on Twitter. I credited the actual name. I'm gonna actually see if because they'll be credited in the mod description. These changes aren't live on Nexus yet, but I want to see if I can get some of their socials or something. So there's Guinevere. Anyway, so they gave me a map piece that they had edited in Blender and 3ds Max for this room. Now, it's actually a lot brighter because of a different change I made, but the change that they made is that the curtains illuminated much more correctly, and then the sun was hitting her clothing. my idea, just to test it, so this is all like super work in progress, so this map piece is basically the entire room. And I thought, well, okay, what if, well, because I was trying to get shadows to show up. Like my dynamic shadow from the character just wouldn't show up, which, as I know in the past, that is usually because there's a baked shadow map that's used for the entire room. And it turns out there was. And so I stripped out that baked shadow map, and it's the entire room, and everything got shockingly brighter. Too much so. And I still need to tinker with it. I was creating a new light ID. You'll also see I copied over some more pots. And so I put another pot over here to match up. A little bit more clutter, make it symmetrical. But what I really like about letting light into this room is that you get these really nice shadows on like the pot. The annoying thing is that I can't set this map piece to be shadow casting, because if I do, all of this disappears. My shadow won't show up, and I wish I could make these shadow casting. So there are things like that that are just not going to be perfect. Or I could make it to where she's the only one who casts shadows. I kind of like that idea. Or maybe I can make everything not cast shadows and only the player does. Like, I'm playing around with that idea, but I do like that, like her, the shadows can be cast onto things. Like she can be shadow casting, and you'll see her shadow actually moves, which is of course the benefit of a dynamic shadow. But so my idea for this room is that she's obviously the Queen of Sunlight, right? Or Princess of Sunlight? Isn't that Queen of Sunlight? And she's an illusion. She's not real. And so the fact that this is unrealistic, that there is light coming through this room, I actually am pretty okay with. I like that there's a big shadow on my character. I think that looks awesome. So let me know what you think in the comments. I can tinker around, make this a little bit darker to where it matches a little bit better out here. But I actually like that it's super contained, because she is an illusion. And I love the shadows on the door, because the door here is actually an object and not a map piece. So that's why this one can be separately set to cast a shadow. But now that the map piece has been fixed and the back faces, you can basically contain the light only in this room. And I think it's actually really cool. Let me know what you think of that idea. But with the lore of the character and the look, I don't know. I'm tinkering around with this. And because I know originally it was pretty cool as well. So I'm going to cross-reference with Prepare to Die edition, and we'll see. But I've been having some fun kind of tinkering around with this room. And I love just having a big dynamic shadow in the room. It's so cool. But yeah, so that's, I think, the most of the Anor Londo updates. The other thing I did, I tinkered with the shadow density setting and put it at 90% instead of 100%. So the shadows are a little less dark. So you get a little bit more detail in the darkened areas. I also raised the alpha setting for the diff color setting for the light ID. God, that sentence is terrible. It basically just means that it's a little less dark on the inside of here. So you see a little bit more detail, but it's still dark-ish. And you still get the hue of like the inside of the building. So I don't know. I'm working with that. And let's go this way. Oh, I guess I died here. Oh, there you go. Let's go to Sin's Fortress, because that's kind of my other thing. Couple things with Sin's Fortress that I was messing with. And what's up, homies? How you doing? Whoa, he one-shot me? The hell? Okay. Well, homie's got reach. Okay, well, I'll just warp. Actually, yeah, that makes more sense. So, I was testing something with, because I think I showed this in a previous video, where I fixed the transition between here and, because the map for Undead Burg actually ends exactly right here. and then you come out here, and then it starts the Sen's Fortress map. So I was testing out a seamless transition. I've now completed that, and you'll see as you exit, there is absolutely no transition in lighting or anything between them. I had to manually copy over the settings for Undead Burg. It was kind of the quick and dirty approach, so I'm still thinking about it, because I altered Sen's Fortress itself. One of the main reasons is this sky, I copied over the settings from Undead Burg because I loved how Undead Burg looked. The sky there is the same one in Firelink Shrine as well, because the bloom is so much better, and I improved the bloom as well. And so now you're getting a lot more bloom than you did in Remastered, and I think it looks kind of awesome. So here we have Sen's Fortress, and I'm a little torn on it. So it looks similar because actually the color palettes were not that different. But there is an issue I'm having with the new lighting settings, because you know what, guys? Okay, I gotta hone in. I gotta focus. Gotta pony up. Woo! Oh, shield. Shit. Okay. You know what? Yeah, I can't. I'm not good at parrying these guys at all. Okay. Multi-enemy. Hell yeah, dog. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try to parry you. I suck at it. I've never. Okay, I'm not gonna parry you. You're, fucking snake head ass looking. Did you drop anything? No, you didn't. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, so an issue I haven't fixed yet. Bonfire disappearing. It's weird because the bonfire, I was opening up Sen's Fortress map, because I was obviously tinkering with this, and there's actually a bonfire in Sen's Fortress's map at that exact same location in Undead Parish. And I looked at it, and it's considered a dummy object, which I don't really have much experience with dummy objects versus objects, and I would assume they did that so that way it would still show up. Well, for whatever reason, that's not working, and the draw groups, that doesn't work. There's some hard-coded disappearance. I haven't changed anything with it, so I don't know why it would be doing this when in the base game I don't think that happens. But then again, how many times am I doing this in Sen's Fortress where I'm looking backward? Not a lot, to be honest. So I then tried doing a duplicate bonfire in that area. That did not work. So I have another idea, which is to copy the actual bonfire from way elsewhere in Sen's Fortress and just put it there and set the draw group to basically be the same draw group that geometry here is set to, and maybe that will work. I don't know. Apparently the other idea is a connect collision, which apparently I have no experience with connect collisions, so I'll have to mess with that. But connect collisions essentially communicate to the game engine, okay, so when you're here, connect to the collision that can be in a completely different map, not in a loaded map, and then you could render things from that other collision. And that is apparently the solution to Duke's Archives, where you see a fake Anor Londo, and it looks terrible. That's on my list, because the fix for that is to use a connect collision and then render the entire real Anor Londo as you're looking down. I have not done that, but rest assured I will definitely figure that out. But anyway, so the issue I'm currently having is you'll see the structure here. It's too black, right? It's too dark. The actual swinging axes are pretty okay now. At first they were too dark as well. But yeah, like there's just something about the texture for this that just doesn't respond well, and I've tried testing different things and it just doesn't look that good. So I gotta look at that. Here's the weird thing is that at first I was like, oh, is that because this whole thing is a map piece, like this bridge, the whole structure, it's like one giant map piece. It's like 4010 or something. M4010. The weird thing is, I was like, oh, let me go look for a baked shadow, because that's usually what is the case. That's the solution. And no, it doesn't exist. So I don't know. That one I'm just gonna have to look into. It's not the worst thing in the short term. But yeah, like the actual color palettes were pretty similar between Undead Berg and... Did I? Well, I thought I had... Woo! We got a Skull Lantern. Skull Lantern works. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Ah! Son of a bitch. They got me. Well, that was cool. But yeah, that's mainly Sense Fortress. It's still messing with that and what the different shadow settings look like. But yeah, there's no transition between the two areas, which was sort of my goal. I don't think there was a ton of transition originally in the game, but in a lot of the areas, there's a pretty terrible transition between some of the areas. And I say terrible not in like the god-awful way. I just mean like it's super noticeable. And my goal is generally to remove those if I can. I think they were doing it as like, yeah, it's obviously a fictional, whimsical kind of world. Well, not whimsical, but you know what I mean. It's obviously a fictional world, so it's not like this world operates on realistic, you know, a realistic basis. But for me, I always felt it a bit jarring, like going from Blighttown into that little cave thing to go to Lost Izalith, like it's just a huge lighting change. It just immediately blasts you with a different brightness and light ID and scatter ID. And that's because the Blighttown map actually ends exactly at the threshold to that little hole that you go through, the little tunnel. And that's why it's so different. So trying to edit that is pretty difficult. But now that I've had more experience doing it, I think I could do it. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this quick look, shorter video this time. You know, not every time I do a video, I end up doing like 38 minutes or something, or 30 minutes. But thank you for the support on the last video too. My God, 2 videos in a row going over 2,000 views, which is crazy. That, you know, it's just absolutely bananas. So really appreciate that, the love and support. And God, we're nearing 1,000 subscribers way faster than I thought I was. So the Q&A, turns out that's gonna be a lot quicker than I thought. But hell yeah. So, oh yeah, update on the Switch thing. That's what I said in the last video when I ended it, is that I was gonna go look at the Switch version of Dark Souls Remastered. Let me warp here. I like the Sunlight Altar. We'll end there. Yeah, the Switch version of Dark Souls Remastered, for those uninitiated, which I also was, basically is like a straight port of Dark Souls Prepare to Die. Not Prepare to Die, really, it's the PS3 and 360 versions. And it's kind of crazy, because they basically just did like a full-on port of that, and it doesn't share a visual identity with Remastered at all. It uses all the materials from the original game. It's actually more faithful. Unfortunately, it's stuck at 30 FPS, but if you emulate it, well, you're good to go. But obviously, the texture resolution is kind of low, and the audio compression is really bad. But anyway, I cracked into the NSP file, which, God, finding ROMs and stuff is terrible. I cracked into it, and unfortunately, basically all of those files, the MTD files, the MSP files, the draw params, all of that is unusable for remaster from what I've tried. It crashes the game immediately. So that's a shame. It turns out, from what I can tell, they basically slapped the remastered name on the Switch version, even though it's a much more... It's really just a port of the 360 and PS3 game, which I think is awesome. But, you know, Remastered had come out 5 months previously, so, or whatever it was. And so I guess they were just like, it makes more sense to name it Remastered, even though it doesn't actually share DNA with that. So Virtuous, I believe, did the port for Switch. But it's really interesting. I want to look more into that because I actually think that's really cool. Maybe I'll do a video where I actually emulate the Switch version and get it running at 60 FPS. And I think that could be cool. And maybe I update the textures on that one. I don't know. Maybe I just copy over the prepare to die textures. Actually, that's a good idea. I wonder if that would work. Because, yeah, the Switch version has that problem of really kind of crappy textures and bad audio compression. I wonder if I could copy over the audio files from the... Because I even have the original Dark Souls version as well downloaded, the PS3 one. I wonder if I could copy over the PS3 level textures and audio files, and I could actually make a version of the Switch version which is then playable in a high resolution and frame rate. Although, then again, you could just do that. I don't know. I mean, there could be a benefit to that, because obviously you can emulate the PS3 version, which I have. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could just do that. But then again, when you emulate the PS3 version, it's a little bit different in that the base rendering resolution is whatever the game did. And then it's using Fidelity FX 1.0, or Fidelity FX Super Resolution 1.0 to up-res it, essentially. So it's not actually natively rendering at a higher resolution. But I think the Switch emulator can actually do that. So I think you could actually render the Switch version of Dark Souls at a higher resolution for increased clarity, copy over better textures. I do wonder. I'm very curious about that. I think there's more flexibility. And the Switch emulation scene is really good. Yeah, let me know if you're interested in a video on that. I'd be curious running that, and just so you guys can kind of see the difference. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I make videos almost every day with my modding journey and different things I'm doing. Currently, it's Dark Souls Remastered because I just can't stop modding it, and I'm really enjoying it and making good progress and changes. But I have made mods for Dark Souls 2 and 3, and I will get back to those, and Demon Souls. Currently in the description, there is a link to download the current build of this mod. I do plan to upload this version, so I think by the time you're watching this video, there should be a new version that has anything you've seen in this video. You can play for yourself and test. That's my goal. So, because it takes a little while to process and upload. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, probably tomorrow. Yeah, and thanks for watching. Praise the sun.